So what we're going to talk about here today right now is step number 5 out of the sleep map. So if you're struggling with your sleep for months, years, whatever it is for you, today and right now we're going to talk about how nutrition is, or what you want to actually focus on when it comes to your nutrition to improve your sleep quality, to bring you back good sleep. And this is, by the way, this is not a single thing, a single or I'd say it's part of a bigger picture. So let me share the bigger story with you to give you a little bit of context in just a few seconds before we're going to dive into the topic of nutrition when it comes to your sleep. And this is the sleep map. And the sleep map is a system that helps people struggling with their sleep, like I assume you are or might be, to return and recover from insomnia back to good sleep. So as you can see, it's 9 steps moving from where you are right here back to superb sleep. And what we're talking about here today is step number 5. So we're talking about nutrition. And this might be the main topic of your insomnia, your bad sleep. It might not. It's important to understand that if you've been trying a lot in the past, then you want to use a proven system. Odds are there's 2 reasons why you're not sleeping right now, right? Number 1, you're doing the wrong things. So you want to figure out what are the right things to do to improve your sleep. Or number 2, you're doing the right things, and that's even more annoying, but there are things missing. Like you're not doing them in the right sequence, or you forgot to do things that are important when it comes to sustaining success. And that's even more annoying often because you might see a little improvement in your sleep and then you drop down again, leaving you with that feeling of frustration, confusion, and all those feelings that we don't want to have when it comes to returning back to superb sleep. So what are we going to do today? We're going to talk about nutrition just a few minutes. Step 5 out of 9 when it comes to the Sleeptrust sleep map. If you don't have the sleep map, download it. I'm going to drop the link underneath this video, and and use it as a guide to really see what you want to work and focus on when it comes to your sleep. When we're talking about nutrition, one big aspect is actually not what can we do, or it is what can we do, but what shouldn't we do? What are the things we shouldn't do when it comes to our nutrition? Let's start with that. It's a no-brainer, and most of you have already heard that. Number 1, caffeine, just not a good thing. Caffeine has little molecules that are kind of similar to a hormone called adenosine. And adenosine triggers sleepiness. So the caffeine things go onto those receptors where otherwise adenosine would dock into and prevent us from becoming sleepy. So the thing with caffeine is it has a half-life time of 6 hours, meaning 6 hours after our caffeine intake, 6 hours after it, we still have 50%, half of the caffeine in our bloodstream. So it takes quite some time to get rid of that. So when we're talking about caffeine and you're having bad sleep, it's good to avoid that, to use decaffeinated versions, or at least to stick to drinking caffeine in the morning. Substance number two, yes, you probably guessed it, it's alcohol. Alcohol, a very popular drug when it comes to not only pimping up parties, but also, especially when we're having problems with our sleep, to let us fall asleep faster, right? And even though that can work, like alcohol does have the effect that we might fall asleep faster. Number 1, it's not sustainable, so you might wake up and have hard times to fall asleep after that. It intervenes with our dream sleep, because REM sleep, rapid eye movement sleep, our dream sleep, alcohol prevents us from experiencing that dream sleep in the quality that we would get without alcohol. And REM sleep, dream sleep, is what Matthew Walker, a well-known sleep expert, calls our built-in therapy system. It's the place, the space where everything comes together. Like we experience things, nice things, things that challenge us, things that threaten us maybe, And all of that comes together in our dreams and gets processed in our dreams. So if we drink alcohol and we get less of that, odds are we're not going to feel that good, and especially if we're running through challenging situations. And that's like a vicious cycle. Challenging days, we might like to have a drink to relax, break out of that cycle. It's not good for your sleep and not good for your REM sleep, and also not good for your overall sleep quality. We know that, you have 2 glasses of wine, 1 glass of wine, you're going to notice in the next morning. And the more you drink, the more you're going to notice, right? Until the point where you have a real hangover and oh, that was like a really shitty night. Excuse my French. So avoiding things is a good place to start. Avoid eating too much sugar. That's a general health tip. Sugar is omnipresent everywhere. It's super cheap to produce. There's a whole industry that promotes sugar as not being as bad as it is, but unfortunately it is. It's like at the root cause of nearly any disease you can name, like sugar plays a role. If you cut out on sugar, it's going to help you to sleep better. Sugar spikes off insulin, tweaks up and down, and we want to have a steady flow in our days and nights, right? So caffeine does the same, right? It kicks us up, pumps up our sympathetic nervous system, everything like heart rate goes up and down and up and down, cough. So we want to get into a state where we come back into our rhythm. So avoid caffeine, avoid drinking alcohol, and definitely avoid sugar where you can. Stop drinking your sugar. That's completely the worst thing you can do. Like cut out of lemonades and Cokes and whatever. Also, don't try to avoid like sugar-free lemonades. They've got substances in there that taste sugary, and that provokes a reaction in our body, and they're not healthy either. So try to switch over to healthier versions. And if you bring these things into your life, you're going to help your body to move through the daytime nighttime cycle. I'm just going to share that with you actually in a smooth way. And on top of that, you're going to do a major step when it comes to your overall health anyway. So this is the graphic I was looking for. Where is it? My God. Here it is. That's the one. Daytime, nighttime cycle, right? And we don't want to have like sugar tweaks everywhere. And this at nighttime, like if you have something to eat, something sugary too late, you could, your body could miss these sugary little events and wake you up just because there is no sugar. So try to avoid these things. That's rule number one when it comes to nutrition. It's actually not what you want to do, but what you want to avoid, ironically. Number two, and now we're talking about the rhythm again. Like in the last step, we were talking about our body, right? Sunlight, temperature, all of these things. Setting setting like an anchor for a healthy rhythm. And when we're talking about nutrition, actually the timing of our meals matter. So let's start at the end. Typically, we want to have steady meals. That's number one. Try like, especially if people have good sleep, they can get along with a lot, right? But you're watching this video because you're struggling with your sleep. So you want to pull all levers that you can. And the timing aspect of meals is just one that you can pull. So if you say, I can't do that, and you're saying, I can't sleep, there might be a relationship between those two. I agree, like sometimes there are things that you can't do because things in your ecosystem are just not designed to work, but mostly 90% of I can'ts are figure outable, right? You can figure them out. If you step back and say, okay, what if I could do this actually? What if there were a solution? How would it look like? So let's come back to the timing of our meals. Last meal, 4 hours before we go to bed, we want to have our last meal. And that's important as a timing factor. Like your body will know at some point 4 hours before you go to bed. At some point, you're going to get sleepy 4 hours after you had your last meal. So it's like we're tying things together here. We're starting to work with our body, with everything. And the other aspect is when you're sleeping, you don't have to, your body doesn't have to do the heavy work of digestion, right? So you have more energy for cell recreation, for a brain activity, for whatever else is going on in your body at nighttime to heal you, to prepare you, to re-energize you, that would otherwise be used in the digestion process, at least to a certain degree. And that's, we use a lot of energy when it comes to digestion. So 4 hours before you want to go, before you go to bed, you want to have your last meal. Then lunch at the same time and breakfast at the same time. That's it. If you have less meals, let's say you only have 1 or 2 meals a day, that's fine. But keep the timing steady. And steady means not 5 days of a week, but 7, right? Our bodies, our minds, our evolution doesn't know weekends. So we invented them at some point. I'm happy that they're there. You're happy that they're there. Completely agree. But we want to keep our rhythms similar. And as soon as you get over the first pain of doing so, if you're not doing so already, if you're doing so, you say, okay, that's fine. But if you're not doing that already, you will notice as soon as you dive into this and you establish a rhythm that works at daytimes and weekdays and weekends, you're going to feel so much better. And it's going to help your body to really tune into these rhythms. So we've tackled what you don't want to do. We've tackled what you want to do when it comes to timing and your nutrition. And the last thing, what in particular can you eat to improve your sleep quality? Actually, I wouldn't have any very specific tip for you here. Eat healthy, eat fresh, avoid processed foods, but the bigger aspect is actually like to get the timing right, to avoid certain things, and to use your common sense when it comes to food. Like the fresher you eat, the better it is. Don't overwhelm your body with fat, but know that fat is actually very important for your body too. So rather eat fat than sugar, that's for sure, and see that you bring in good fats if you want to have like one nutrition tip here. Other than that, just use your common sense, eat fresh, eat healthy, and try to, eat as natural as possible. And when it comes to supplements, and that's the very fourth and last aspect we're going to tackle here, I know a lot of you are very interested in supplements, and I per se don't think they deserve the attention that they're getting. It's a billion-dollar market, right? And everybody wants to do good for their body and they're eating these pills. But if they're really healthy for you, you could question that. I think it's certainly fair to say if you check in on your nutrition, like what you eat on your diet rather, that's going to have a far bigger impact on your health than eating supplements. So if you ask me what supplement, if there were one supplement that I would suggest to give a try, it would probably be magnesium. Like magnesium is known to reduce stress, or rather, if our bodies are stressed, we need magnesium. Magnesium is very important for our cell function, for our energy in our cells. So if you want to go with one supplement that is something that I could recommend to try, it would be magnesium when it comes to sleep. Other than that, it's more about living healthy, getting your diet in check, and avoiding things that we know are not good for us. So yeah, that was a quick walkthrough through step number 5, where it's all about nutrition. Like in this system, it's 9 steps, right? The important thing to know here is quite frequently it doesn't have to be that you are doing the wrong things, but you need to have a system in place, right? And that's what is frequently missing. So these, what we're walking through right now are the tips, right? Now this is the body part, this is the nutrition, what we're talking about. Next part is going to be about minds. These are like the sleep helpers, right? So that's what we can do to sleep better. But there are things we need to have in place before. We need to have a solid foundation. Otherwise, this work will be wasted. If you don't measure what you're doing, you're not going to know, or at least you're going to have a hard time to figure out if things are working or not, right? How would you know? Yeah, you will know when you have a good night of sleep, but that's not how things work. Our brains constantly trick us, and we need to get the bigger picture. So you need to measure things. If you don't have a clear goal where your sleep is moving or should be moving towards, it's going to be very hard for every part of your body to move towards that. If you don't know where you're positioned, you're going to have a hard time to figure out the right things that we're talking about here, because there might be things that are much more appropriate and much more effective when it comes to your sleep, and so on and so forth. So moving through this little sleep map or using it as a guide, super powerful. It's the same map that I use for all of my clients. All of the content I create, it's all aligned with these 9 steps, and you can download it for free. So I'm sharing this for free with you. It goes along with the little video so that you can check off the boxes and see, oh yeah, I'm done with that. Oh yeah, I'm really good in that. Oh, there's a little black hole here that I want to take care of. So check out the link underneath, get your version of the Sleeptrust sleep map. I hope you got a little bit of inspiration when it comes to your nutrition, or what you can do for your nutrition when it comes to your sleep, improving your sleep. Happy to hear all of your questions. Just drop them into the comments. And yeah, hope to see you in the next video when we're going to talk about the mind, which is a major aspect when it comes to our sleep. Until then, have a superb